Welcome, my darlings. It's Dionne back with another video. And by special request, I'm going to be giving you my top 5 thrift stores. And this is actually going to be my top 5 in Dallas. And I know that I've had requests for, my best um, my top 5 thrift stores around the country and so on and so forth. But to be honest, the only 3 cities that I feel good about making a fair assumption would be um, South Florida, Dallas, and possibly Chicago. There are still a few thrift stores that I have yet to go to, unique thrift stores here in the city, and then I need to go to the south suburbs. I've been to the north suburbs, but I haven't been to the south suburbs. So before I do a Chicago video, I'm going to kind of do a little bit more thrifting. But this video is going to be on my top 5 Dallas thrift stores. And you could probably already guess the names that are going to be on here if you've been with me for a number of time. But I'm still going to compile that list and give you my top 5. You ready? Let's go. So my number 5 is going to be Salvation Army. Now, you may be asking, okay, which one? Well, there are two that I actually frequent. The one in Dallas off of Harry Hines and the one in Plano. Oh, I can't remember the name, but it's in Plano. If you put in Salvation Army Plano, you'll get the result out of Yelp. And let me tell you that Yelp is your best friend. If you're in a new city and you want to find out where the best stores are, go to Yelp. I Yelp all the time, and so when people are going out to different stores, they do give a good assumption of where the stuff is. So Yelp it. So Salvation Army on Wednesdays, okay? Not to say the Salvation Army within Dallas isn't that great, but for me, it's not worth going to on a random day. I'd rather go on half off Wednesdays. So all the Salvation Armies in Dallas are half off on Wednesdays. If you go to the one in Dallas, go there early on a Wednesday. It does get packed. If you go to the one in Plano, I also would go early. It doesn't get as packed, but it's everybody knows it's half off Wednesday, and so they kind of get the pick of the litter. Um, that being said, if you're wanting to talk about designer and will you find designer goods at Salvation Army in Plano or Dallas, Salvation Army Plano is where I found that Burberry bag. If you guys remember, I'll put a link to that video um, in the information box. But I'd been going there for years and hadn't necessarily found anything. But that is where I found that Burberry bag hidden in the back. Definitely for housewares. Definitely if you're looking for Banana Republic and Taylor. That's where you would go for that store. And also if you're a reseller. And so this video is going to be it's going to feel a little mixed match because there's thrifting for designer, which I do, and there's thrifting for resale, which I do as well. This store would definitely be on half off Wednesdays, thrifting for a reseller. If you're reselling part-time or full-time, this is definitely the place to come and get those goods to put on Poshmark, to put on eBay, to put on Mercury, to put on if you have an Etsy store, whatever. So yeah, number 5 on the list, Salvation Army in Dallas or Plano, but on Wednesdays. Okay, let's go to the next one. So number 4 on my list is going to be my beloved Thrift Giant. I miss Thrift Giant so much. It has been such a part of my thrifting history. They've been such a supporter and a great supporter of my channel and have sponsored 2 or 3 videos and just have let me be free to thrift, right? But I really love Thrift Giant and I love these 2 locations. Now, Thrift Giant has a bunch of locations. They have 2 on Beltline or 2 in Irving. The one on Beltline in Irving I really like. And then they opened one, gosh, I just left Dallas like 3 minutes ago and I cannot remember the area where they just opened the latest Thrift Giant. But regardless, the 2 that I would recommend that I really enjoy, excuse me, especially if you're on vacation, would be to go to the Thrift Giant on Northwest Highway, and then around the corner is the main one, if you want to call it the flagship, right? It's the Thrift Giant on Harry Hines. Now, these 2, I would say 75% of the time if not 85. Let me bump it up to 85% of the time. I'm going to find designer pieces. Whether, it's a Marc Jacobs shoe, Stuart Weitzman shoe. I find beautiful pieces. When I'm shopping for my thrift boxes, I usually go there first because they just have a beautiful selection of thrift. The pricing can be high, and so I would suggest to go there on their 50 off days, and they have numerous 50 off days during the week. They also are really they're really good at discounting their stuff, and so on just any other random day, even if it's not a thrift day, they have like 75 off, 50 off, 25 off the numerous colors. And so I think although some people may say the pricing is high, I think it's fair because they do place items on sale regularly. So it's nothing to go in there and find 50 off of three colors, or 75 off of two colors, 50 off of two colors, 25 off of one. So I think the pricing is fair. If you're a reseller, you definitely want to go on the 50 off days because they have a great selection. That I will say. Thrift Giant Harry Hines has a really, really, really great selection of clothing, shoes, and handbags. And so if you're in the city and you're like, I only have one day to thrift shop, Thrift Giant is the place to go. Go to the one on Northwest Highway and then go around the corner to the one on Harry Hines. And if you want to add a third one, you want to go to the one off of Irving Boulevard. It's not Beltline, it's off of Irving Boulevard in Irving. Make sense? So Thrift Giant is my number 4. You want to go to Northwest Highway, go around the corner to Harry Hines, and if you want to add a third, if you have time in your day, go to the one on Irving Boulevard, and you will not be disappointed within those 3. All right, let's go. Okay, so my number 3 store, which in essence is my number 1 store. It's my number 1 store in Dallas. The other 2 that I'm going to name are going to be in Fort Worth. But my number 1 was number 3. But my number 1 in Dallas is Thrift World off of, I just left Dallas and I should have got the address before I came on here and made this video. Give me a minute so that I can give you the exact street that it's on. Hold on one second. Let's see. I'm just gonna do it on camera. I ain't gonna stop no tape. I ain't got time for that. All right, so is Thrift World Dallas is off of Forest Lane. So you'll take the 635 to Webb Chapel, and it's on Forest Lane. It's over there by the Cinemax over there. Thank you for your patience. I didn't feel like stopping to start no tape, child. All right. Um, so Thrift World of Dallas is my fave. It was actually, sorry, I'm being disrespectful, not looking at you guys. I just want to have my list up. I have my list up here for you. Um, so Thrift World Dallas was the first thrift store that I went to in Dallas when I arrived, and I found it on Yelp. And, I'm not gonna lie, when you go to the thrift store, you're gonna be like, this don't look like it's gonna be nothing. But when you go inside, you're going to see a plethora of fabulousness. This is where I go for vintage Coach. This is where I go for vintage fur. I have found an inordinate amount of capes at this store. And I'm not, now listen, when you go there and you don't find no cape, don't be writing me and tagging me, talking, I ain't find no cape. I have found capes there on occasion. Vintage, this is the place to go. So vintage Coach, my faux furs, their jewelry department can rival any Nordstrom rack that you go to. It'll rival any Macy's. They have an amazing jewelry section. Now the shoes, the pricing is a bit too high. They need to cut it. I ain't gonna lie. Pricing is a little too high on them shoes, child, on them shoes. But like Thrift Giant, like my song that I just added, I might have to make that a meme. But so the pricing is like Thrift Giant in that although the pricing may be high, they do have days when it's 50. I think it's the third Thursday of every month. Everything is 50 off. But even on a random day, they have different colors that are on sale for that day. So you can see kind of like with Salvation Army, how they just do one day everything 50 off, but if you go on a regular day, it may it's just going to be full price. With Thrift Giant and Thrift World, on any random day, they're still going to have 50 off of something. But what differs for me with Thrift World and Thrift Giant thing, I believe, especially because they're a chain and they have more stores, their selection is different. It's younger. They just have a lot more. It's a different type of selection. With Thrift World, I think their claim to fame, if anything, is their vintage collection, and you can find the odd designer there on any day as well. And on their half off days, their clothing is priced really well. I will say that. I've seen items from Anthropology that have the tags on them full priced, and they'll still price it fairly. They're not like taking half of what the price says on the label, and you know you know how they do. But that being said, number three on my list, which is really number one on my list, is Thrift World. And that is because, I love my vintage. And so that's where I go for vintage. That's where I go for all the pieces, the accessory pieces that you see, that you say you love so much. Most of it is from Thrift World. All right. So let's go to number two. So number two on my list is Goodwill Outlet in Fort Worth. You guys know that across the board, I love to dig. So, I love my thrift giants and family thrift and like I said, I love to dig. I love the hunt. I love going through and finding that precious Manolo shoe or handbag that was like $1,000 and it's in a bin. I love that. I love the thrill of the hunt. So Goodwill Outlet in Fort Worth is my number two. And if you don't like to dig, don't go. I'm telling you right now, if you get icked out by thrift, if you're new to thrift and you get icked out by thrift, don't go. It's a waste of your time. You're not gonna love it. But if you're like me and love to get in there and shove stuff around, and oh, I love it. I miss it so much. I want to go to Dallas just to go to the outlet to get a good dig on. I know that I went to the one in Rockford and it was okay, but that one in Fort Worth, oh, I love it so much. I love it. 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 And I actually want to go to the Goodwill outlet in Seattle. Um, just because I have friends that live in Seattle and they've been and they're like, oh, it's really good. And then there's one in Austin, the one in Austin, Texas. If you guys are in Texas, if you're going down to Austin, if you're at UT down there and you're on a budget, if you're in San Antonio and you're on a budget, go to the Goodwill outlet in Austin. It's huge, and I hear they have amazing stuff. So that's a side note. Goodwill Outlet in Austin, gotta go. But number two on my list is Goodwill Outlet because I love the dig and I love to find buried treasures. And, if you're in Dallas and you just want a day out, Fort Worth is only like a 45-minute drive away, depending on where you live in Dallas. Make a day of it and just go and have a good girlfriend day out and dig. Just dig. And then tag me on Instagram at I am Dionne because I want to see what you found, girl. I want to see what you found. All right, so let's go to number one. Okay, so number one on my list, number one is Family Thrift Outlet in Fort Worth. This store is one that I would go to before any of them if time was no of the essence and I could just thrift at one place. Family Thrift on Thursdays starts at $2. Everything is $2. And then by the following Wednesday, it works itself down to 25 cents. So it goes $2, excuse me, $2, 175, 150, 125, blah, 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 blah. And if you get there on a $2 day, when I tell you that I have found brand new Coach for $2, not brand new, like lightly used Coach, vintage Coach for $2, a cape for a quarter. Um, yeah, I just love Family Thrift Outlet. I mean, you can go to all the other stores, but if you can make that trip to Family Thrift on Thursday, it's all day Thursday. If you can make it there on a Thursday, you will lose your mind. Even on the 25-cent day, it's picked over, but it's still a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff. Um, and so if you're on vacation, if you're going to Dallas, you're there for a weekend, you're there for a day, and you don't like to dig, go to Family Thrift Outlet. It is amazing. And this is my number one store if you are a reseller. Yes, Goodwill Outlet for resellers is amazing as well. But as far as selection and time and the cost and what you're going to find for $2 or a dollar, whatever time you go, for me, I would go to Family Thrift Outlet first because it's and nothing is organized. I'm gonna say that nothing is organized, okay? So don't go in there thinking everything's sized and it's not. It's all jumbled together. The shoes are all, it's not organized at all. So you are gonna have to work your way through the racks. But as a reseller and just someone that likes to dig, and even for my thrift boxes, I found items in there for my thrift boxes and have been able to put outfits together for minimal cost. um, this is my number one store. And so they've also been a really great supporter of my channel and have let me go through the store and really show what's in there and what you can get. And so for them, for that as well, I really enjoy them as a brand. But Family Thrift Center Outlet, if you're a reseller, if you're like building your business, if you're in Dallas and you want to build your reselling business, go to Family Thrift Outlet, especially on that $2 day. Now, let me tell you something. Those resellers out there are serious. So there will be a line, but it'll be totally, totally worth it. Okay, so there's my top five list. I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, I will do, you know what? I'm going to do a Miami one for you. And if you would still like me to do a Chicago one based on the how many months that I've been here, based on what I've seen so far, let me know and I will create one for you. But the rest, I want to go to Seattle and thrift. I want to go to Las Vegas and thrift. I want to go to New York and thrift. I need to do a thrifting tour. I think that's what's next in my life. Thrifting tour and outlet tour. But all right, so that's it. Love you and never pay retail. If you go to these stores and you see something amazing and you buy it, please tag me. I love seeing your finds. It just makes my heart just go boop, 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 boop. All right, love you. We never pay retail. Bye.